perhaps beyond the point where they can be met. Gemini, a new fact could offer the missing link, providing the answer to a long-standing question. Do pay more attention to business connections, however small the amounts involved. Somewhere along the line, your ideas have parted company with your friends, but it's important that you see eye to eye. Cancer. It's impossible to tell whether fears of the heart or professional hopes are most important. But what is certain is that your deeper emotional aspirations are now being buffeted by a cosmic squall. Hang on tight and seek reassurance wherever you can. Leo, when you're dealing with finances, property, or anything which connects your prosperity to others, you must realize that there can now be no quick fixes. It may be necessary to devote more of your energy to partners' interests than your own, but not for too long, hopefully. Virgo, you have been led a merry old dance by certain people. It's been fun, but it could be time to move on. Someone who once seemed so reliable has lost touch with circumstances and may no longer know what is needed. It's up to you to recreate harmonious conditions. Libra, there is no telling exactly what will happen now that other people have decided to go their own way. But if you have made your peace with authority, you should be on a fairly safe path. All that can be said with certainty is that nothing is certain, so keep your options open. Scorpio, a major alteration in the pattern of your working life could be the consequence of personal changes. You could also be pleasantly surprised by the results. A trip to your romantic past may also soon be accomplished, but don't wait around waiting for someone to get in touch. Take the initiative. Sagittarius, recent emotional situations have absorbed much time and energy and left you feeling somewhat drained. However, the real problem may be other people's rather than yours. So please extend sympathy and support wherever and whenever it is required. Capricorn, you're still in the midst of sensitive, delicate, and vulnerable planetary aspects, so if you feel slightly wobbly, it's only to be expected. However, all artists should produce their best work. Lovers could be about to hit a new peak, and mystics will be reaching a fresh high. Aquarius, travel plans may have to be altered, mainly because your ideas are now changing, and some of the information on which you've been acting no longer seems to be valid. In love, it's now vital to talk about your feelings. If you don't tell the other person what you want, then they can't be blamed for misunderstanding you. Pisces, you are deep in a phase of romantic and financial extravagance, so it would be a shame indeed if you have to count your cash. This is one of those rare times when it looks as if happiness can be bought. Actually, you're also entering a secretive period, so you may be keeping certain intense feelings to yourself. And that's your horoscope for today. And if it's your birthday, Happy, blessed birthday. May you enjoy many more to come. I am Irma Ratan Singh, wishing you a safe, blessed, and positive day ahead. Remember, you don't always need a plan. Sometimes you just need to breathe, trust, and let go and see what happens.
And just note that that horoscope feature was sponsored by our good friends at Jyoti's Puja Store. Stay with us, 975 FM, Hot Like Pepper, as we continue with today's edition of the morning program, You Talk on 975.
Jyoti's Puja Store is your one-stop puja store for all puja, wedding and cremation materials. Also available books, mithai and murtis made to order. Visit Jyoti's Puja Store today and be greeted with the kindest and most courteous staff with best prices and secured parking. Jyoti's Puja Store located at 542 Southern Main Road, Chase Village, Shigwanas. Contact 671-3849.
Puzzle lovers, rejoice! Your free 24-page Newsday puzzle book is now available twice a week, only in your Trinidad and Tobago Newsday. Now you really can look forward to staying home. Newsday, independent and credible.
And a very good morning, Trinidad and Tobago, and thank you very much for being with us here at 97.5 FM, Hot Like Pepper. Let me remind you that we are broadcasting live from Couva in central Trinidad, the energy capital. Let me say a very special good morning to all of our neighbors here at Exchange Lots in Couva. Let me say a very special good morning to all of our neighbors, including the members of the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Services, all those hard-working police officers attached to the Couva Police Station, to the market vendors, to all of the workers there at WASA. Good morning, and thank you very much for being part of the 975 family. Good morning to our international audience streaming live with us. Just to note that you can catch us live on YouTube at RCLU 975. And or you can also log on at 975radio.com. You can also WhatsApp us at 378-4975. That's our WhatsApp number, 378-4975. And yes, at our regular numbers at 636-7547, 227-5739. But as I look out of our studio here in Couva in central Trinidad, I can tell you it's a bit dark and gloomy this morning. Yes, and the Met Office would have indicated that we can expect some showers today. So those of you who are living in low-lying areas, well then you need to take all of the necessary precaution, especially those of you who are in flood-prone areas. Be very cautious this morning, my friends. Well, I have a caller here on the line. Hello, good morning. All right, I'm sorry to miss your call this morning, but the time in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, it's just about 22 minutes here past the hour of 6 o'clock. And that time check came to you through the kind courtesy of the Couva South candidate for the People's National Movement, Mr. Rajendra Rampasad. But at this time, I need to keep you abreast, keep you a speed as to what are some of the major stories as published in today's edition of the Newsday newspaper. Note that you can go outside there and get your copy of this publication. It is priced at only $3 and it's available at all leading newsstands throughout the country. Today it's Friday, July 17th, 2020. And in today's edition, it's 56 pages in total. On the front page, a very graphic photograph of Imam Yassin Abu Bakr. Yassin Abu Bakr would have apologized for the 1990 attempted coup, that is 30 years later. The story said, 30 years later, Bakr apologizes for attempted coup, sorry for 1990. Watson Duke, PNM food card for election win. That story you can catch on page 3 of today's edition of the Newsday newspaper. Umar TNT slams the Muslim Brothers PNM. They are hypocrites. Chairman of Umar TNT, Rashid Karim, has slammed his Muslim brothers who criticize his organization for supporting the opposition, but 1 day later endorsed the Prime Minister and his party. Now that's a very interesting statement or comment coming from Rashid Karim. He said, they are hypocrites. Karim said representatives from those organizations identified were at his meeting last Sunday when they met with opposition leader Kamla Persad Bissessar and promised their support in this upcoming general election. That story you can catch on page 5. Former government minister Kevin Ramnarine, patriotic refinery deal too convenient. Government's decision to close the Petrotrin refinery deal with Patriotic Energies and Technologies Company Limited has been met with a mixture of favor and skepticism among, or rather coming on the eve of a general election. To this end, former Energy Minister Kevin Ramnarine said, quote, "It is clear to me that the rush to finalize this arrangement is of course related to the pending election." End of quote. Those stories are on page 5 of today's edition of the Newsday newspaper. And on a very sad note, Kenneth Lala would have passed away at the age of 93. Legendary luminary Kenneth Lala has died at 93. Lala was a former chairman of the Police and Public Service Commissions and a member of the Judicial and Legal Service Commission, the Caribbean Court of Justice. So, to this end, us here at 97.5 would like to extend condolences to the legal fraternity and more so to the friends and family members of Kenneth Lala. Certainly, he would have made a sterling contribution to the development of Trinidad and Tobago. And in this vein, we express our condolences here from the management and staff of 975. Venezuelan extradited by Trinidad and Tobago sentenced to prison in the United States. Interesting story. No leads in PC Mosley murder. Those stories are on page 7. Now, this should be quite interesting to you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Why I say that? Because we are heading straight into a general election of 2020. Watson Duke, the minority leader, he's saying food cards being used to win election. PNM trying to buy Tobago East. Watson Duke, Progressive Democratic Patriots leader and candidate for Tobago East in the August 10 general election, is accusing the government of trying to win the seat by a massive food card distribution drive, including to people who had not applied and who did not need them. Interesting. We'll continue with this discussion a bit later on in the program. But it should be a very interesting story indeed. And yes, I told you about this story. Muslim community backs Prime Minister and the People's National Movement. Well, to this end, Imam Rashid Karim, attached to the Umar TNT, is taking serious issue with this latest development. Kamla Persad Bissessar, keep the campaign clean. UNC political leader Kamla Persad Bissessar, in a statement on Wednesday, urged party candidates to run a clean campaign that focuses on issues which matter most to voters. In contrast, recent attacks on the platforms of some political parties. Now, we would have spoken about this matter yesterday. What I'm talking about is in Guyana, the situation developing in Guyana. Chairman on attacks against CARICOM observers over election. The world is watching Guyana. CARICOM chairman Ralph Gonzalez says there is a small group of people in and outside of Guyana who are seeking to hijack the elections and ultimately the country. Gonzalez, who is also Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, issued a strongly worded address on Wednesday, which he described as a personal editorial on Guyana. He said he is anticipating the chair of the Guyana Election Commission's declaration of the results from the March 2nd general election. Very interesting developments taking place there. We'll continue to look at what is happening in Guyana also. WASA Chief Executive Officer, water levels at record low. Well, I don't know, we're in the rainy season, and this is what Alan Poon King, WASA CEO, is saying this morning. WASA CEO Alan Poon King said after water levels at reservoirs across Trinidad and Tobago are at record lows, with most being at 20 to 30% capacity. This is well below the 50 to 60% capacity expected at this time of the year. Well, there must be a reason for that. There must be a reason. Well, a number of contributing factors indeed, one of which is aging pipelines, leaks, and what have you. All right, so those are about some of the stories, as I said, published in today's edition of the Newsday newspaper. You can go outside there and purchase your copy this morning. It is priced at only $3, and it's available at all leading newsstands throughout the country. Before I go to some commercials here this morning, let's thank the management and staff of Newsday for partnering with us here at 975. Yeah, as I look out of our studio, it's getting darker and darker and very gloomy indeed. So if you do have to venture outside, people, I know today it's Friday, it's the last working day for most people, and you want to get into your favorite watering holes. Well, you need to walk with an umbrella if you need to get outside today, my friends. It's going to be one of those days. Stay with us. 975 FM Hot Like Pepper. When I come back, we will take your calls at 636-7547 and 227-5739. Also, you can WhatsApp us at 378-4975. That number again, 378-4975. Our WhatsApp number. Stay with us. 975 FM Hot Like Pepper. Let's go to some commercials here this morning.
A&S Hardware and the General Contractors Limited of 107 Bonaventure Road in Gasparillo for all your hardware materials from foundation to finish. Not forgetting all your general contracting needs. We have it all at A&S Hardware and the General Contractors Limited, located at 107 Bonaventure Road in Gasparillo. Just call Tiki Ali at 650-2180.
A&S Hardware are wholesalers and retailers of plywood, an assortment of lumber, galvanized pipe, hollow section, and steel. Customers can enjoy special prices on white pine and pitch pine doors.
It is back. Talk Your Talk is back. This is Mukesh Baburam inviting you to join me right here on U975 FM for the return of Talk Your Talk from 6 to 9 p.m. Enjoy your favorite segments and feel free to make your comments as we journey together. So join me, Mukesh Baburam, for Talk Your Talk.
Only the people can save the people. This is the mantra of the National Solidarity Assembly. Join its political leader and president of the All Trinidad General Workers Trade Union, Nirvan Maharaj, as he invites you to join these organizations and other top executives on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper for 2 one-hour monthly features as they discuss the concerns and challenges facing the working class of this country, tackling the issues, generating bold talk, finding solutions, bringing the workers' agenda to the front burner, and providing a new vehicle. That's the NSA's mission. Be part of this informative panel discussion with operatives from the NSA. Only happening here on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper.
You can now listen to business news Monday to Fridays at 5 p.m. Get updated on all the latest business developments. Tune in to U97.5 Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio, where we keep you informed, educated, and entertained.
So guys, the party continues this Saturday. Yes, this Saturday, the Hot Like Pepper Reloaded continues from 8 to 12 noon. Sharon Baru alongside DJ Vishal, 12 noon to 3 p.m. The captain takes full flight. Yes, Captain Kendall Juggernaut from 12 noon to 3 p.m. From 3 to 7 p.m. DJ Anil is in with a Hot Like Pepper mix. And from 7 to 1 a.m. the man Corky D is in the building and will mix it up for you into the morning. Tune in, log on 975radio.com for the Hot Like Pepper Saturdays Reloaded.
The following is a paid political announcement.
This ad brought to you by the PNM.
Sign my name with a golden pen, a golden pen. Sign my name, yeah. Anyway, we vote in PNM. Sign my name, the PNM pen, a PNM pen. How will you sign my name, the PNM pen? We vote in PNM.
On August 10th, vote PNM. Great is the PNM.
That was a paid political announcement.
Well, indeed, and welcome to 975 FM Hot Like Pepper, the morning program, the most interactive morning program on the airwaves of Trinidad and Tobago with yours truly, Kenrick Juggernaut. And yes, sitting alongside me this morning is the lovely Nicole Duki. And we will be taking you until the hour of 9 this morning as we look at the issues of the day, the challenges facing us here in Trinidad and Tobago, and also invite your calls into our program. The numbers are 6367547, 2275739. Let me say a very special good morning to Nicole this morning. Good morning to you, Nicole. I hope you are much better this morning.
Good morning to you, Kenrick, and good morning to our listeners on U97.5, as well as our viewers on YouTube. Good morning to you all.
All right, well, we have our callers on the line already. Let's hear what they are saying to us. Hello, good morning, and welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Good morning, Kenrick. Good morning, Nicole.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Chris. How are you this morning?
I did with that. I'll follow up on that news item. I called somebody to be Ruiz.
Mm-hmm.
The man told me, he said, one, some people getting more than one food garden.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, and you know, I find it totally ridiculous, and I'm going to use a word here, and who vex loss. It is totally obscene on my part to try to appease or attempt to appease the electorate of the day to vote in a particular manner. It is ridiculous. It is totally ridiculous.
I agree to it. I agree to obscene. It is obscene. It shows no respect for the people at all.
Mm-hmm.
And who taking them food card to go and vote by their no shame.
Mm-hmm. Now hold on. Yesterday some I would not say it's evidence, but information was shared to me that the parcel of land which Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley would have extended to the Muslim community for a cemetery, that parcel of land would have been occupied by a particular Muslim activist in the area. So in a sense, it's not really a gift from the state to the Muslim community for a cemetery. And my understanding where the parcel of land is located, listen to this, Chris, where the parcel of land is located, there must be some rehabilitation to get to the parcel of land as it relates to a roadway. That's all I'm going to say about it this morning. That's all I'm going to say. Go ahead.
What I want to know is if we're now going to have a separate cemetery for Christian and for Hindu and for Buddhist and for Sikh. That's what I want to know.
Well, is it that Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley would have now set a precedent? Is that it?
But this question I want to know, if different cemeteries will different people's country.
But it's not the first time. It's not the first time that we'll have a Muslim cemetery in Trinidad and Tobago, though.
But we got to bring people from all story with the bury here, you know. This will come like Mecca. This is nonsense, total nonsense. To say have a cemetery especially for the Muslim people. This is Trinidad. I'll tell you something else. I heard Dr. Ori in point 14, somebody tell the people what they got to go to the IMF. If they win and they open now, or refine, we got to go to the IMF. Now that's total nonsense he's talking there. Because he himself said that they were not able to to access funding from commercial banks. If the PNM not able to access funding from commercial banks, where do they have to go? Not the IMF?
Mm-hmm.
And they will not be able to access funding because whoever in commercial bank will say they are not running this economy in such a way they could pay back money. So who will have to face the IMF? Then after they come back and they say what? Before the election, they will hand over this petrol treaty and sign everything. Why? Why you don't want that if you lose, somebody could go in and run up front and say, is it petrol treaty? Are you covering up something? Is petrol treaty so much of a secret in there that you want to make it sure nobody could see what's happening inside there? We don't want to fake oil.
And hold on, and no, and more so, Chris, why on the eve of a general election you are backing the OW2 and by extension patriotic energies into a corner?
But it is to get that hidden away somewhere, and the population has to ask that question now. And that question has to be answered. And if for nothing else, people should vote so that we go and see what's happening in Petrotrin. Petrotrin has always been a party branch, a drain in the economy, and you come here and you say, you close down the refinery, you hand over somebody else to save the people money, but in fact you might be hiding something there. It is time we start waking up in this country.
All right, Chris, let's leave it here for a while. Let's take another caller. Hello, good morning, and welcome to our program. Good morning.
On a good Friday rainy morning, good morning to everybody.
And good morning to you, my friend Bawani Pasad. How are you this morning?
Hey, I am back like Jack Warner, boy.
Some people, boy, it's difficult to keep them away from the politics of the day, you know. It's difficult.
But that's a very interesting development in the political landscape.
Oh, man, I like it.
Yes.
It makes the political landscape even more interesting.
Very much so.
Tell me something. Who is the UNC candidate for that area?
For what area?
Prakash Williams. He was recently selected to contest the seat after he replaced Tristan Bonte.
Bonte, yeah.
And the PNM is who again?
I believe it's Camille. Is it Camille?
Camille Robinson.
I'm not sure. I'll double check that.
We'll have to get that information for you. Yeah, go ahead.
I thought she's Maloney, somebody.
Yeah, hold on, Bawani. As a media operator, sometimes we are quite challenged to keep you abreast as to all of the developments, you know, because things are so fluid, my friend.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Marvin Gonzalez is the candidate for the People's National Movement.
Oh, very interesting. Well, two newcomers versus a veteran name. Now, note my words, eh? Two newcomers versus a veteran's name.
So why, Bawani, why all this attempt to grab the Muslim vote ahead of 2020 election? Why?
Is a showdown taking place? You understand? Now, this food card program from day one was a good intention, but it has been used by all political parties to persuade people. Understand? And the people who are supposed to get the food cards not getting them. Now, I heard the Minister of Social Development was quick to respond and say that is not true.
No, but I want to know what would be the view if Hindu organization in this country comes out and say, well, look, yes, we are supporting Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley and the People's National Movement. We are in support of them.
Exactly.
What would be the sentiments of people outside there?
I wonder myself, because as far as I am concerned, if you are part of a national organization, you are supposed to be as neutral as possible. If you give me a piece of land, I'm thankful for it, but I'm not going to make an all-out cry to say, well, we support the government or we support the opposition. Anybody who comes into government and they give you a donation, accept it as, as a donation.
Yesterday, one person would have put forward the argument to me that Parliament would have been dissolved. But the government is not dissolved. That is why they are engaging in so many projects and turning the suds for so many projects. Nothing is wrong with that. But the question is how timely it is on the eve of a general election.
That's a strategy.
Yeah? You call that strategy? Is that a strategy, Bawani? Or is it a form of quote-unquote bribery?
It is a strategy of bribery. Now, if you notice, for 4.75 years, nothing was done. Nothing was given. But in the last quarter year, You're giving everything. You're turning every sod. You're creating, opening, putting on every light bulb. The only thing you mightn't do this year is kiss babies.
All right, hold on.
But I want to leave with a little quote here just now.
What's the quote?
A diaper is like a politician. They must be changed for the same reasons. Bye-bye.
All right, Chris. Thank you very much for your contribution with us here this morning. Well, Nicole, the big story this morning is today. It's a nomination day.
Nomination day, that's right.
Yes, nomination day. Nomination day is today. It is the day when prospective general election candidates file their nomination papers, and once these papers have been validated by the respective returning officer, their candidacy is confirmed.
And that's when the election race is going to heat up even more. The campaign and everything will be stepped up.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Good morning. Will you give me a little oxygen this morning?
Oh, I find a number of you using that word, oxygen.
Because they use it and it's overused now. The truth of the matter is the Prime Minister should do stand-up comedy. He's like an entertainer now. He was given that press conference about the cricket, right? How somebody pretended to be the CMO. And they were talking about that, we shouldn't have these people come in from England because of the virus. The Prime Minister was trying to explain to everybody that, look, we have all these empty hotels, we're paying all these workers, and all these workers doing is staying home and millions going out the door. Let we get the people in the hotel and put people back to work. But nobody listened to the Prime Minister. All they care about was the border. And he was so angry. He was like throwing up his hands in the air saying, what's going on?
No, ma'am, hold on. I support the Prime Minister in this respect,
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. He's right, and he pull a Trump there because people are staying home doing nothing when we really should try to test some of these hotels and see if they're up to standard with sanitizing. This would be a good measuring stick. And then we could say, you know something? We meet up to standards, we up there in quality, let me bring back people to the country now. That would be a reason to do it, eh? And he said everybody was involved, from the health official, the ministry, even agriculture was involved. But what I want to say about this whole Muslim land deal is that the newspaper really played with this topic. At one minute you're hearing that these people got this land and they were so grateful and a whole slew of people were there. And then the next thing you're hearing is the government working with the Muslim people and people thinking, oh my God.
No, well, hold on. Let me shed some light on this.
Yeah, go ahead.
It is appearing as though Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley would have extended some sort of favor to this particular group by granting them state land. But my understanding is this land is or was occupied by a particular prominent individual in the community. So it's not as though the Prime Minister would have said, well, you know what, let's extend this favor to the Muslim community. I don't think that is it, But I'll get some more information and share it with you probably on Monday.
It was like a gift, and I just wanted to add something to this. What is happening here is what the Prime Minister is doing to the Afro-Muslim community is saying, I don't give a crap about all you anymore.
So let me challenge you here this morning.
Go ahead.
The Muslim community, or rather the Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, did not anticipate or was unaware that this group of people needed a cemetery. He didn't realize that. It's only 1 month before a general election.
Thank you very much.
Huh?
You see how, he think we're really stupid, This is how Minister Imbert speaks to us like stupid children in Parliament. Every time he always says, we have to teach them how to listen and understand because it's stupid.
Even Faris Al-Rawari, now people will tell me UNC this morning, but I call it as I see it, who vex loss. Even Faris Al-Rawari spoke about the importance of the magistrate court in San Fernando, and it has been ongoing for the longest while. But hello, 3 weeks before a general election, you turn this salt? Who are you trying to fool? Not me.
Guess what they're going to do? Patchwork. They're going to do patchwork on these buildings, and you're not going to see new buildings going up like the insurance building, the business bureau, the bureau building, the motor vehicles building. That building was empty and grass going around. Same thing with Kufa. Why they punish we like this? This is what the PNM does.
Because you know why?
We don't want to see.
You know why? They perceive the electorate of Trinidad and Tobago as puerile. That means childish and gullible. Let's take another caller.
I want to tell you what I read about.
All right. But you need to call me back. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Morning, Kenrick.
Nicole.
Good morning.
Nicole, yes. Is it Nicole from Princestown?
No.
What? You have some family in Princestown named Dookie or what?
The Duke Please, all right. Kendrick?
Yeah.
I want you and the listening audience to pay a little attention. I live, where? It's the area.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that cemetery, I guess you know, the Shagwana Cemetery, which is very old, and they had Anglican burial there. Well, now the Anglican has their own cemetery, which was opposite the government school, which was demolished. Next, in that cemetery area, a lot of Hindus from our area, Philistines, who used to bury there. As you enter, that the Muslim section, let me put it that way, is overfilled because that is very, very old. That is in the days of the agriculture time.
All right, quickly, get to your point. Get to the point.
Yes, now, no. Why I must give you the same thing. People don't want to know who a cemetery is only for Muslim. No. Now, the next thing is, this was donated by Ramona Ramdial came to get the new area, for the cemetery. That is, look how long. And there is a certain family who want it to be named the family and so forth. Now, Imam Rashid will give you more information on that. I don't want to call Imam out to talk. So what happened, if you look in Trinidad, there is about 5 cemeteries where they sectionized for Muslim burial. If you go to Monroe, you go to Waterloo, you go to, so that is the little topic. I don't want to go into detail. Contact Imam. He spoke about it Sunday morning. Thank you.
All right, my friend. Okay. Thank you very much. Folks, we need to take a commercial break at this time, and when we come back, we'll continue. But I have some callers here coming through. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
And pleasant good morning to you, Mr. Kendrick, and good morning to Ms. Dookie.
Yeah, good morning, Bangville.
Again, right?
Yeah.
Right. Kendrick, I think you say it, and I think the people say it. So I don't have the cause to repeat it. You see, the tendency of the PNM and the way they operate. Now, they're going to do everything. I think election should be every 2 weeks, or every other 6 months. Anyhow, I hear the leader of the PNM and the Mr. Rowley made a statement last night that he said that the PP government spends so much money and they have nothing to show in 2015 when the time has come. But what they want to do, they want to give public servants a big 50 raise of 14%. I know all they have to show to fool the people them and to fool the public servant that they can do something. But I want to know if the PNM and the people in this country were sleeping under the People's Partnership.
All right, let's leave it there, Mr. Bangville. I know the direction that you're going, but I need to take a commercial break at this time. You can call me back after, and we can continue with our discussion. I know our callers are coming through, Nicole, but we need to take a commercial break at this time. Stay with us here.
Roll again with U975 FM, hot like pepper, multicultural radio. Yes, we're back with our road shows. Be part of the U975 FM bandwagon as we bring you live broadcasts from locations throughout the country. Come enjoy our company with music, entertainment, and lots of giveaways. Stay with the U975 FM, hot like pepper, multicultural radio for greater programming as we hit the road again.
Davidson Safety Garments for all your industrial safety supplies. We supply a wide range of industrial needs such as face masks, coveralls, shirts and pants, jackets, aprons, lab coats, fire-resistant clothing, steel-toe boots, and we also do embroidery and printing. Visit Davidson Safety Garments Industrial Supplies Limited at number 163 Southern Main Road, Marabella, or call us at 289-0506, 289-0507, 289-0508, or WhatsApp us at 773-3863. Our fax number is 653-9271, or you can email us at sales@davidsonsafetygarments.com. Whatever your safety needs, we can supply.
I have journeyed
Greeted in the wonderful name of Jesus. My name is Bishop Kelvin Khan from Endurance Ministry International. Our new location is in Railway Road, Londonville. You can tune into 97.5 every Sunday morning from 6 a.m. till 8. Tell your nanny and your nana, Jesus is the answer.
U97.5 Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio is now on Facebook. Like us, follow and share our page. We'll be sharing the latest news, tips and much more. You can also view what's happening in our studio. Find us on YouTube and subscribe to our channel at RCL U975.
The following is a paid political announcement.
This ad brought to you by the PNM.
All will be fine. Look, we made the right choice every time. Still a job to be done and a race to be won, and we know we will win every time. Just keep the faith, heads up high. We're together in this, you and I. Yes, the job will be done and the race will be won, and we know we will win every time. And we go vote for the love of we country. We go vote to protect the treasury. Vote is only Dr. Rowley. The right choice for TNT. PNM is the choice. PNM is the voice. PNM all the way on election day is the right choice at the right time. Hands in the air for the police. Hey.
On August 10th, vote PNM. Great is the PNM.
That was a paid political announcement.
Yes, indeed, and welcome back to 975. Let's go straight to the lines again. Hello, good morning. Good morning and welcome. Good morning.
Good morning to Ms. Nicole.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Can you find it's still long to introduce Nicole this morning?
Really? No. Nicole have some challenges, had some challenges this morning.
Oh.
Yeah.
Kendrick, those imams that Mr. Rowley met with yesterday, those are the same people who, before the 2018 election, locked up 13 of them and branded them as terrorists. And locked them up before the carnival until after carnival. Those are the same people.
And it's interesting to know that former Speaker of the House was quite visible in that let's say gathering, Nizam Mohammed. Yes.
But Kendrick, this video that is making the wrongs with a UNC jersey with $300 in it, that is so bogus. And that is so bogus. That is PNM propaganda. True and true. You go tell me if UNC put in $300 in a jersey to give out to people, they go put a $100 bill instead of 20s and 10s. So they go put the money in those denominations. They go put $300 bill. So how much of 20s and 10s they go have to put in jerseys to give out to people?
Well, look, listen. These things should not surprise us. We are into the silly season, and all sort of claims would be made and so on. It's just part of the election rhetoric.
That is all PNM doing. You remember in 2015 when they had the final rally, somebody in a PNM jersey attempted to burn down the stage. And when the holy fella, they take off the red jersey, they see a UNC jersey below.
And what of the substance found in the water tank of one Sadiq Baksh?
Sadiq Baksh. All these things they do just before the election. And I don't know what's wrong with these people. This is 19th century politics they're practicing,
Well, and this is my bone of contention. When I started this argument sometime last week, I said this is 2020, not the 1960s or the 1970s.
This is the kind of politics. And Dr. Rowley going on a stage, I understand the idea, and questioning some candidate and sexual orientation and all this sort of thing. You just passed a bill in the House there giving rights to the LGBTQ. You understand? All over the world, people are recognizing the LGBTQ, and some countries are legalizing same-sex marriage and all this. So this is the 21st century, and you come in to make fun and poke fun and try and criticize people. for their sexual orientation.
All
Whatever their sexual orientation, that is a business.
All right, my friend. All right, well, I hear you. But I thought you wanted to talk about Jack Warner. He has now indicated an interest, and today, of course, is nomination day for that constituency of Lopino Bonnet West. You're with 975 FM Hot Like Pepper. Let's take another caller on the line. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning. Hello, good morning. All right. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. All right, my friend, we're having some problems getting you on the line, but you can call us back. Hello, good morning, and welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Kendrick.
Hi, good morning to you, my friend. How are you this morning? Good morning.
Good morning, Miss Buki. Supposed to talk to you first. Morning, Mr. Kendrick.
Yeah, good morning.
So, this is something we've been having because we comparing what's happening now. Under the People's Partnership, we had the same thing.
Well, this is what I'm saying, my friend. This is what I'm saying.
And I hear a man talk about public servants. Bank Village or whatever it is. Under the People's Partnership, they promised public servants 14%, Mr. Kendrick, and they was voted out. Imagine that. The first time in the history of Trinidad and Tobago, our government had 29 seats. No opposition. They could have bring any bill in the parliament to pass. Any bill. Any bill that they wanted to pass, they could have passed. So when they tell them, no, I don't want to hear it, they had the opportunity to pass any laws in Trinidad and Tobago with 29 seats. And the population regretted them. So let me make a point. They promised public servants 14%, and they lost the election. Remember that? When this government came into office, Duke started to make noise. The first thing the Minister of Finance had us to do was to go on a roadshow to raise money to pay the same 14% that was promised to public servants by the previous administration. So when they say the government didn't do nothing, that is one something. It is difficult to understand the average. The man gets a cemetery, and I hear a man now called to explain to you what transpired, how long. The man called Ramona Ramdial had already, that whole thing apparently was in train.
No. The point I am making here this morning, it's this plot of land or parcel of land was only given to this particular group, in my humble opinion, because Imam Rashid Karim would have organized a group of Muslim leaders in the country, and they would have shown support for Kamla Prasad Bisesa. So it's tit for tat, you know. No, let's be honest, it's tit for tat. You want to talk? It's tit for tat.
Yes, I understand that. So let me explain to you now why.
In other words, who have more corn could feed more fowl.
But that has always been the trend of survival, Mr. Kendrick.
But you see, the point I'm making is this. The electorate of Trinidad and Tobago should be more aware of politicians and what they offer on the eve of a general election. They're trying to buy your vote.
The electorate of themselves has to be frank, because that individual who come out and tell me, he bring a group of people to try to show Kamla Prasad Bisesa that the people of Monroe Road, the Muslim people in Monroe Road, is supporting the UNC. That is what it did. And let me explain you something. From my point of view, the same people that Kamla Prasad locked up in 2013 considered terrorists. That is the same group of people she's aligned herself with.
All right, hold on. My friend, we have to leave it there for a while, but you can call me back and I will engage you. But I need to go up to the 7 o'clock newscast, and when I come back, we'll continue. Stay with us here, 975 FM, Hot Like Pepper.
Time has come. New 97.5. Make it your choice. Something for everyone. 975 FM. Music for you. It's all about you.
U97.5 FM, Hot Like Pepper, multicultural radio.
Power to the listeners.
It is now time for Major News to the Hour, brought to you by Crystal Beverages Company, Super Quality Supermarket, Sheikh Elisha Limited, and the Trinidad and Tobago News Day.
This is the 7 a.m. news update on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio. I am Irma Ratensingh. Good morning. Trinidad and Tobago has a water bill of $800 million. The figure was revealed by Acting Chief Executive Officer of the Water and Sewage Authority, Alan Poonking. He said the figure represents both commercial and residential bills. The authority is encouraging customers to pay their bills. Poonking said the authority is aware of the economic drawbacks many citizens may be facing due to the pandemic, but where possible, they need those in good standing to pay their bills. WASA cannot rely on their water restriction drive for extra income. The fee for breaking water use guidelines still remains at a measly $75. Poonking said WASA has been in consultation with the Ministry of Public Utilities in order to restructure the governing legislation. Political leader of the Progressive Democratic Patriots, Watson Duke, accuses the government of using food cards to sway voters. The minority leader of the Tobago House of Assembly, who is also the Public Service Association president, made the allegation at the headquarters of the PSA. He said the Tobago House of Assembly has been offering food cards to some of his members.
They have taken copies of their own food card and sent it to me because they are all PDP members that the PNM is trying to induce.
But Minister of Communications Donna Cox has denied those allegations. Asked whether he took his claims to the police, this is what he had to say.
The police is PNM. Straight, the police is PNM. Gary Griffith, they never know what color he's wearing. One day he's third force, one day he's cop, and the next day he's the police force.
The voice of PDP leader Watson Duke. The King's Wharf fishing facility will remain there for fishermen to ply their trade. This comes when the Urban Development Corporation of Trinidad and Tobago moves forward with the waterfront development project. The decision was made on Wednesday following a consultation between the Fisheries Division and concerned fishermen. The fishermen have been demanding that they remain at the current fishing facility and not to be relocated. However, during the consultation, UDCOT presented the updated architectural designs which incorporated the suggestions tabled by the fishermen. The amendments also included the request by Fish Fork to remain at the current facility. Regionally in Guyana, the United States Ambassador to Guyana, Sarah Ann Lynch, yesterday urged support for GCOM chairperson Claudette Singh as she condemned the recent personal attacks on Singh. During a virtual meeting yesterday, the U.S. Ambassador to Guyana stated that she was shocked and appalled at the dangerous statements and actions that she has seen directed at the chairwoman, and continued that Chairwoman Singh is a person of the utmost integrity and a distinguished jurist who has given decades of her life in service to Guyana. Internationally, according to a BBC update on coronavirus cases, in the US, the daily number of new cases hits another record, with infections rising in Japan is now recording more daily cases than Italy. And the UK, US, and Canada accuse Russian spies of targeting vaccine researchers. Globally, there have been 13.8 million cases since the outbreak began, with 589,000 deaths. And on to the weather forecast. Today we'll experience partly cloudy conditions with occasional light to moderate showers. There is the medium chance of heavy showers and thunderstorms favoring the afternoon and evening. Seas will be slight to moderate with waves up to 1.25 meters in open waters and near calm in sheltered areas. High tides at 2:31 p.m., low tides at 7:57 a.m. and 7:27 p.m. It is presently 27 degrees Celsius, but temperatures could reach up to 33 degrees during today. And that brings us to the end of the 7 a.m. news on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio. Join us again at 8 a.m. for more news. I am Irma Ratan Singh, wishing you a safe and blessed day ahead.
That was Major News to the Hour, brought to you by Crystal Beverages Company, Super Quality Supermarket, Sheikh Leisha Limited, and the Trinidad and Tobago News Day.
Kathy's Cool Spot Enterprises Limited, number 86 Pearville, opposite the TSTT Exchange in Mayaro. We specialize in all types of meats, dry goods, liqueur, beverages, ice, LPG, gas, motor oils, stationery supplies, and photocopying. We also provide rentals of tents and chairs for your every occasion. Come in and take advantage of our specials at reduced prices on liqueur, wholesale and retail. We are open every day, even on public holidays, for your convenience. TT Post services are available here at Kathy's Cool Spot Enterprises Limited of number 86 Pearville, Mayaro, where our friendly staff will be happy to serve you.
Attention all bakers, doubles vendors and roti makers. Try our high quality unbleached bromate free all-purpose and baker's flour. Low price and conveniently packaged in 2 pounds, 2 kg, 10 kg and 25 kg bags. For wholesale and retail prices, contact Shiklisha Limited 665-3336 or visit us at Warrenville, Canupia. Shiklisha Limited, quality you can trust.
For quality items, visit Super Quality Supermarket of Endeavour Road, Chaguanas, and Trin City Industrial Estate in Trin City, as well as Quality Cash and Carry Supermarket, Cuba Car Park, for all your grocery items, liquor, fresh fruits, and vegetables, not forgetting their bed and bath section, and kitchen appliances for your home. With so many items to choose from, take advantage of our great prices and discounts at any of our 3 locations, Trin City Industrial Estate in Trin City, Endeavour Road, Chaguanas, and Cuba. For quality items, Super Quality Supermarket and Quality Cash and Carry Supermarket.
A&S Hardware and General Contractors Limited of 107 Bonaventure Road in Gasparillo. For all your hardware materials from foundation to finish. Not forgetting all your general contracting needs. We have it all at A&S Hardware and General Contractors Limited, located at 107 Bonaventure Road in Gasparillo. Just call Tiki Ali at 650-2180.
A&S Hardware are wholesalers and retailers of plywood, an assortment of lumber, galvanized pipe, hollow section, and steel. Customers can enjoy special prices on white pine and pitch pine doors.
Hello, I am Rajendra Ramprasad, your PNM candidate for Couva South. I ask for your support to take Couva South into government and to improve the quality of life for all of us. I have specific plans to create jobs, to improve agriculture, to revive Point Lisas, and to develop our infrastructure, also to enhance security. As a person born in Dow Village, California, and started my education at Esperanza Presbyterian School, I want to use my years as a successful businessman and a resident of Couva South to partner with you to make our communities better. I ask for your vote on August the 10th. Vote Rajendra Ramprasad, the right choice for a better Couva South. Vote PNM.
The following is a paid political announcement.
This ad brought to you by the PNM.
PNM is the choice, PNM is the voice, PNM only way on election day is the right choice at the right time. Hands in the air for the police, hey.
On August 10th, vote PNM. Great is the PNM.
That was a paid political announcement.
Yes, indeed, and welcome back to 97.5. We have some callers on the line. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning to you.
Good again. Let me get a minute. I won't stay long. Wassa, I heard the CEO last night talking about how the dam is water going low and problem to get water. Who are accustomed getting water, 5 days a week going to get 3 days, and who get 3 days going to get once, and so forth. And I think that the WASA that's giving out water, how come WASA just give this problem only when administration like PNM is in power?
No, let's not make it into something political.
No,
but I understand your argument. But hold on. Let me throw this to you. Even when water, the reservoirs are at an acceptable level, WASA is still challenged in providing water to 75% of the country. Yes or no?
Well, I will say, I would not say yes, my friend, because if you look at the news, you will see people complain all about. But if they're trying, I have no problem. But we'll see. The point I want to make is the minister who in charge of that, and I think the outgoing prime minister right now should take a look at that, because you...
No, that's not the direction I am going to take the conversation. Whether it's a People's Partnership Administration or a PNM administration, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago continue to suffer for a 24/7 supply of water. 75% of the country. Point I'm making to you here, Mr. Bang Village, and the listening audience is this. Even when the reservoirs are at an acceptable level, WASA is still challenged to provide water to the people of Trinidad and Tobago on a regular basis. The question is, why? Let's take a call on the line. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Kenrick, I just want to tell the guy who called in just before you went for the break and talked about the UNC had 29 seats and they could have passed any legislation they wanted. That is not true. That is not true. 29 seats, you can't pass anything you want. That is why, that's not a 4/5 majority. There are some legislation that require 4/5 majority. Any bill having to do with changes in the Constitution. That is why the UNC couldn't pass the soldier police bill, because they needed support from the opposition and didn't get it. That is why they couldn't pass the changes to the Constitution regarding fixed date for election and 2 terms of prime minister. They couldn't pass it because they didn't get the support from the opposition. And another piece of legislation, they don't come to mind now, that they couldn't pass, I think it's giving Tobago full autonomy or something like that.
Yes.
When Dr. Rowley spoke and he said the truth doesn't have to be repeated. And that couldn't pass because they didn't have the 4/5 majority. So he going around the place talking about the 29 seats, you could do everything you want. No, you couldn't do it. 4/5 is 32 seats, 33 seats, not 29.
All right, I
and
hear you.
Secondly, and just before I go, Kenrick, he's saying that the UNC promised to give public servants. They didn't promise, they gave them 14% and they played all the increases.
Yeah, they
the
refused
only thing
it.
outstanding was the back pay. And they're not going to roadshow for that, because in the last quarter of 2015, $13 billion in taxes went into the consolidated fund, $2.5 billion of which was to pay the back pay. That was the plan, to pay the money in the first week in January. You understand? But the PLM came in and they scuttled all of that and went on roadshow and borrowed money here, there, and everywhere, and said the government didn't pay the back pay. The money was there to pay the back pay in the last quarter of 2015. So this sort of foolish talk he's going all over the air with and telling people that UNC had 29 fees and they didn't pay the back pay. Damn stupidness. Thank you.
Okay, friend. Well, thank you very much. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Henrik,
Good morning.
This man was 29 seats again and again.
Uh-huh.
I want to tell him, in case you don't know, in 1971, Dr. William got 36 of 36 in the House of Representatives. He had 3 PNM cross the floor to make an opposition. You know what he did with? 76, he changed the constitution. All he did was fire a governor general, Kara still a governor general, who looking after the interests of the people, to put a president that he will dictate to. And that's why all the corruption in this country gone haywire under the PNM, getting 36 of 36 seats. So when you're talking about Kabbat 29 seats, look back and see what the PNM did with the constitution, what they had. Thank you.
All right, Chris, thank you very much for your thoughts with us this morning. But I want to stay with this Wassa story for a while, because I'm totally fed up of these excuses coming from Alan Poon King and that whole bunch that sits at the board of Wassa. All they can give to the people of Trinidad and Tobago is one set of foolish rhetoric. Let's take these callers on the line. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Good morning. I think the problem there with Wassa is a distribution policy that they do not have. If you have water and the water, you have a scarcity of water, then you have to know how to distribute your water. If you have it in, if you have plentiful and people still ain't getting water, then your policy not good, your distribution policy not good. Something has to be wrong there.
Well, you should go to the head of the class, my friend. That's the point I'm making. Let me repeat. Even when the reservoirs are at a certain level, acceptable level, Wassa is still challenged to provide water to 75% of the country. Yes or no?
Yeah, well, and the next thing, you know, when they go lift that alert, you see when Port of Spain flood out. When Port of Spain flood out, then you hear Wassa say, okay, well, we have some water in your reservoir there now. And another thing with the People's Partnership, people have to understand something, you know. They're saying how, you know, they had so much seats in Parliament and they could have passed so much laws. But you have to understand that it was a partnership that was operating in there, you know. It means that if one say they're doing this, the other four could say, no, you can't do it, and the opposition leader, Ms. Kamala Bissessa, I think that she had it really hard to work with another 4 parties to get things done in this country, you know. It wasn't Kamala alone, you know. Remember, she had 4 other parties together with her, and they had to make decisions too, so it was probably difficult for her.
All right, well, we hear you. Let's take another caller. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Morning again, Mr. Kenneth.
Yeah, good morning to you.
Please hang up and try your...
All right, I'm sorry to miss your call, but you can call us back at 636-7547, 227-5739. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Good morning. I'll make it quick.
Yeah, quickly.
I read that more money selling water that is distilled and purified to the higher industries like the Angosturas, like the bottled water companies, and even for manufacturing, because they need water that is highly purified. So what makes more money doing that than providing cheap water to poor people? So they're it doesn't make sense to them. It doesn't bring in a lot of money. They make more money with the high industry, and it shows that this country caters to the elite once again. That was my comment.
All right, well, thank you very much. Hello, good morning, and welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you.
You see, Wassa is a PNM party group. That's a PNM party group. They stay quiet, and any time they see like election coming, they figure the government will change and have a big shake up there. You say they come and say some kind of thing concerning why they can't give water and all kind of thing. If after 1956 you were charged to give people water, and up to now you can't do it, and there's only excuse. It's obvious to have the wrong people doing the job. You would give a man high backhoe and about 3 or 4 people to go and to fix a little hole. When they finish the whole fix, they want the temporary water. They take all the mud and pull it up in a blasted hole and take a branch and stick it in the mud. And they say, that's good. 1 week later, it leaking again. So the same amount. That's a well-orchestrated plot in Wassa to keep certain people making money. And then they have people who were supervisors and all kind of thing, and they buy trucks. Then will workmen trucks, and they rent it to Wassa. All these things needed to be looked into and purged. Wassa is a pain in the butt. Thank you.
All right, fine. Well, thank you very much. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Hello, good morning.
Kendrick, let me answer a question on this Wassa thing.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Hines on this radio station said they don't have sufficient water production to supply the whole of Trinidad.
Mm.
He said the East-West Corridor have a 24/7 supply, and they will continue to have. I called the station, and I said to him, sir, why don't you use your office to have an equitable distribution of water? And his response was, I was see about that, not the ministry. You see, so it is a matter of the ministry not having the policy to support the south of the county. It's as simple, and Mr. Hines said on this radio station a Sunday ago.
Thank you. I hear you. Nicole?
Well, Kenrick, this situation, this water situation, it's not something that we've experienced, we're experiencing now. It's something we've been experiencing for years. And Kenrick, I can tell you that there are still communities in this country that do not have a proper water supply. You know, some people have not had water in years. They're so accustomed with, buckets and barrel and depending on rainfall, and for a small island like ours, I think that we really need to step up our game as it relates to the basic necessities that people need, in addition, not only water, but we're talking about even electricity, because there are still communities in this country that don't have a proper supply of electricity as well. So something really needs to be done.
Well, often, I remember when WASA operatives, the chief operative officers would have be hauled before they joined select committee.
Yes.
And what have you. All they talk about is aging infrastructure. They talk about monies.
Yes.
Well, look, hold on. According to the CEO here, he says WASA is being owed $800 million. That's not my fault. That is not my fault or the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. If people are not paying their bill, cut them off. Simple as that.
Yes. But they have, over the years, been doing a lot of disconnection drives as well.
But before they disconnect the average normal citizen, look at those commercial enterprises that are owing millions of dollars to WASA. Let's take this call on the line. Hello, good morning, and welcome to 97.5. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you.
It seems to be wrong with the line.
Yeah. We're having some problems with one of the lines, but go ahead.
Under the UNC, think about it, it can't make sense, because WASA management, even though it changed, the distribution of water has to remain the same. If UNC tell me 75% of the population was getting water, and how come all on a sudden the same connection, they ain't add nothing, government ain't take away the pipeline that going to San Fernando? So how come all on a sudden we have and you see what happened? We just use this politics, because that was UNC's problem. 75, and here we're going on. If that is the case, we have a man. If they was getting 75% of water throughout Trinidad and Tobago, then why you come to tell me that you're going to put a water treatment plant on the Beatum? Because if we already supplying 75% of the population, there is no need. All we have to do is continue our water production. But instead of that, they come to give me a man on the Beatum, and the end result of that demand go on with $400 million.
Yeah, well, you would have exhausted that point. You would have exhausted that point on this program. But that's not the point I'm making to you, my friend from Baratoreano. Whether it's a PNM administration, a UNC administration, or whatever administration, WASA continues to be challenged in providing potable water supply to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. So it's not a political problem. It's one about policy, and Chris is right. It's one about policy, and it's one about management. WASA do not manufacture water, WASA is responsible for distribution. That is a problem. Hello, good morning, and welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Morning, Kenrick.
Good morning, friend. How are you?
Hi, okay, man. How are you going?
I'm doing fine this morning. Give me an update. What's the score this morning?
In the cricket?
Yeah.
244.
2-4. Okay.
Yeah, Assembly is 97.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
This fellow we're calling, telling about a water treatment down there. I mean, he's like a old Sararoti to throw in the morning. And water problem is Kenrick. You know it and I know it, but there's a big problem in the political parties, both PNM and UNC. It's overload. They're paying people, they're over 3,000 people in WASA overstaffed.
So
if
then,
you add up that money, you know how much pipe they could buy with lines that getting burst there that lie down there over 50 years?
well, then we're looking at privatization then.
All the time I said privatize it. If you shut down Petrotring and Caroni and all them places that they shut down, say they're making money.
And it was
shut down Wassa, privatize it because they're making money.
Mhm.
And you go, so it's going to start to make money. And this thing, yeah, I watch it. I don't know how to say for a shame of a lawyer like Nizam Mohammed. You get a piece of Trinidad and Tobago land, you use that Trinidad, and all of the Muslims that get that land, 8 acre land for a cemetery or a tank in Rowley, that is private property.
Mm-hmm.
The man gave all the Trinidad now, they deserve that. He's just using it to get political points now. You know the PNM do here, Kenrick?
Mm-hmm.
You butter your wife for 5 years, and 2 weeks before election, you give her a rose up, a bunch of roses, and say, all right, darling, hold on that until the 2 weeks pass. If I win, it's butter for you again. Have a nice day, sir.
All right, my friend. Well, thank you very much. Well, let me just take this other call on the line. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
I want Mr. Bartaya to go in the dictionary and find the meaning acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever resources we have, it should be looked at, the citizens of this country, to share equitably. But that is not what is happening, and that is the point I'm making. So he could jump at water treatment plant, he could drop it where he wants to have $400 million. Let me tell you something, Mr. Bartaya. Anytime you talk corruption, I will tell you, 3 oil gas boom past this country. You know who thieved the most? PNM. Fact of life. Take that, put it in your pipe, smoke it. Before you look at anybody else's corruption, the PNM in this country was a giant compared to these minuscule things that you're talking about. So get the facts straight. Let's look at how we should run this country forward now and equitable distribution. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
I want to sidetrack the Wassa thing, but this is especially for Mr. Barataria.
Mm-hmm.
You always keep harping on $400 million that the man take and you run away. A rapid rail feasibility study was done by a certain company in Trinidad, and I hear, I'm not, that how much $500 million was spent on that survey, and we ain't seen nothing yet. Thank you.
All right, friend. Well, I just want to share some information here with you as well. This is published in one of the newspapers here this morning, but I have so many callers coming through on the line. Hello, good morning, and welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Hey, morning, Ken.
Good morning, Brian. Quickly.
I see in the comment, fast and furious.
Yes.
Yes. Well, I can tell you, all systems go. All systems go. Nomination day, we in full effect.
Brian, you're not giving me information. I said that this morning. Today is nomination day. And it is a day when prospective general election candidates file their nomination papers. And once these papers have been validated by the respective returning officer, their candidacy is confirmed. You're not telling us anything new. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Morning again, Kenrick. Kenrick, the person who in charge of Wassa there,
Alan Punking.
Good idea. Was it a good idea to operate to get that plan, that the one that they're talking about, the wastewater treatment plant?
As in the midterm.
Was it a good idea to get that thing working and forget about the contractor who gone with the money, because contractors, he take the money and he gone already, right? Was it a good idea to get that up and going? Would that have solved some of the water problems in the country?
And let me tell you something. These very same people who are talking about corruption and what have you, these very same people would have been, let's say, raised concerns with the Bastille Pandey administration for that desalination plant, you know.
But the problem is this: the same politician that talk about corruption, when they get in office, it's the same thing they're doing. So, I can't understand is one criticizing the other thing for the same thing they're doing.
All right, friend, we have to leave it there for a while. Just about at 7:30 here in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. A bit later on, I'm expecting in the studio Mr. Nirvan Maraj, who is the President General of the All Trinidad General
Please hang up and try your call again.
Yeah, I'm sorry, folks, but you need to call us back. I need to take a commercial break at this time. Stay with us here, 975 FM, Hot Like Pepper. The time in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, it's at 7:30. Let me remind you that time check came to you through the kind courtesy of Mr. Rajendra Rampasad, who is the People's National Movement for the Couva South constituency. Let's hear a bit more from him this morning.
Hello, I am Rajendra Rampasad, your PNM candidate for Couva South. I ask for your support to take Couva South into government and to improve the quality of life for all of us. I have specific plans to create jobs, to improve agriculture, to revive Point Lisas, and to develop our infrastructure, also to enhance security. As a person born in Dow Village, California, and started my education at Esperanza Presbyterian School, I want to use my years as a successful businessman and a resident of Couva South. Vote on August the 10th. Vote Rajendra Rampasad, the right choice for a better Couva South. Vote PNM.
The following is a paid political announcement.
This ad brought to you by the PNM.
PNM is the choice, PNM is the voice, PNM only way on election day is the right choice at the right time. Hands in the air for the police, hey.
On August 10th, vote PNM. Great is the PNM.
That was a paid political announcement.
Puzzle lovers, rejoice! Your free 24-page Newsday puzzle book is now available twice a week, only in your Trinidad and Tobago Newsday. Now you really can look forward to staying home. Newsday, independent and credible.
Only the people can save the people. This is the mantra of the National Solidarity Assembly. Join its political leader and president of the All Trinidad General Workers Trade Union, Nirvan Maharaj, as he invites you to join these organizations and other top executives on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper for 2 one-hour monthly features as they discuss the concerns and challenges facing the working class of this country, tackling the issues, generating bold talk, finding solutions, bringing the workers' agenda to the front burner, and providing a new vehicle. That's the NSA's mission. Be part of this informative panel discussion with operatives from the NSA. Only happening here on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper.
voices from the ghetto. Crying, 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 Lord, Lord, crying, crying, voices from the ghetto. Crying, 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 Lord, Lord, crying, voices from the ghetto. Help us, Father. Mothers just holding head on ball, and them woman stronger than a wall. A big pusher eyeing she daughter, son in jail for manslaughter. Too bad for the name black boys, no bail. That's the black man's choice. Like Shadow say, poverty is hell. She little girl child belly start to swell. Some say life is a cycle, but don't draw she no circle. Where will it all end? Only time will tell. Outside the siren keep howling, inside your belly will growling. Police raid very often, Simpson measuring a coffin. One night in bed you're sleeping, next night is a wave that you're keeping. So you're praying to win the lotto, not to hear voices from the ghetto. Crying, 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 voices from the ghetto. Crying, Lord, crying,
Yes, indeed, and thanks for staying with us here at 975 FM Hot Like Pepper. Just about 22 minutes here to the hour of 8 o'clock. And let me remind you that time check came to you through the kind KGC of the People's National Movement candidate for the Couva South constituency, Mr. Rajendra Rampersad. Well, with me in the studio this morning is the President General of the All Trinidad General Workers Trade Union, Mr. Nirvan Maraj. Mr. Maraj is also to the political leader of the National Solidarity Assembly, the political arm of the union. And we want to thank him very much for his involvement with 975 and for being part of the 975 FM Hot Like Pepper family. Good morning to you, Mr. Maraj, and thanks for dropping by this morning and being part of the program. Thank you very much.
A pleasant good morning to you, Ken, and of course to all the listeners out there, and of course those who are viewing on the internet as well. All right, yes, we are live on YouTube at RCLU975, and you can also catch us at 975radio.com. Good morning, people. Good morning, and thank you very much for being with us here this morning. Mr. Maraj, we're heading into a 2020 general election on the 10th of August. Some of you in this election as the mother of all election. I always feel that all elections are or is a mother of all election. I don't know why people are saying that this election is a mother of all election, but maybe a bit later on you can share your thoughts with me. Today, of course, Mr. Maraj, is nomination day. As a legal mind, what is nomination day all about? Educate us.
Well, very simply, in a nutshell, it's that day under the Representation of the People's Act and the Constitution, whereby you would submit your papers to the Election and Boundaries Commission in order to gain the validity to contest the elections, to ensure that all is well, that you have been resident in Trinidad and Tobago for a number of years, that your name would have been submitted by the party, that you are duly representing a political organization, or if as an independent you are going up. But basically it's really to ensure that you meet all the requirements to represent the people of Trinidad and Tobago and to enter into the doors of Parliament.
Mr. Maraj, you lead or you head one of the political parties, the National Solidarity Assembly, and you would have opted out of this general election. Now, there are a number of smaller parties contesting this general election, and we also have some independent candidates. How significant it is for these smaller parties to be represented? In essence,
Do you see smaller parties really making a difference in any election, especially this election?
Making a difference in terms of the electoral politics and parliament at this point in time, no. Making a difference in terms of highlighting to the national population the issues or the different interests that people are concerned about, that is people who feel disillusioned by the incumbent political parties, yes, they do make a difference. Because they would be raising issues and they would be representing people who do not fall under the realm of either of the incumbent political parties. And in that sense, I think it's very important. In order to make a difference as a smaller party in the general elections of Trinidad and Tobago, unless you have enough sway in a marginal to be able to pull enough votes to maybe act as a stopper to one of the incumbents, you won't make much difference unless you fall within the realm of a coalition politics, some sort of alliance with one of the incumbent political parties. And we have seen that history has taught us that. The NAR in 1986, the People's Partnership in 2010. Let us not forget the ONR, for example, that gained almost 100,000 votes. They actually gained a greater percentage of the votes than the ULF at that point in time. And they came away with 0 seats while the ULF gained 12 seats. Mm-hmm. So politics are so geopolitical also in terms of ethnicity, race, density of population in different geographical areas, that it's extremely difficult for a smaller party to make a difference in terms of electoral or being elected into parliament. But I have always agreed with and encouraged anyone, whether you be an independent or whether you belong to a smaller party, if you feel it is your constitutional right, which it is, your democratic right, then certainly throw your hat in the ring. You have to excite the imagination of the public. And I go back to the mantra of the NSA, where we have always said, no one has a divine right to your vote because they look like you. No one should own your vote. They have to earn it. When you were born, your birth paper never said you had to support the UNC or the PNM. You have a freedom of choice. That's your constitutional right. And therefore, I am happy whenever I see smaller parties, men brave enough to step forward and stand up for a cause knowing that they are fighting against the odds. The only time smaller parties could make a difference in terms of the electoral politics is if the day should ever come, which I doubt very much at this point in time, that we ask the question, if Trinidad and Tobago was one race of people, what criteria would you use to vote a political party? And if you could answer that question honestly, then certainly you may see the politics of the country changing. Because let me put it this way, I've listened to your radio station, for example, this morning. I've listened to some of the callers. There's no doubt, if Keith Rowley take a sack of gold and put it by everybody's houses, by their doors, you will still find cause to condemn him. And if Kamala does the same, you will still find cause to condemn her. Mm-hmm. The fact is, we are so enmeshed in the politics of the party because of certain factors, race being one of the most predominant factors, that no matter what a government does, you will always have a large segment being opposed to that government, whether it be UNC or PNM. And that is the nature of our politics, and I don't see it changing very soon, Ken.
Yeah, but one would imagine that the electorate is an educated electorate. The people of Trinidad and Tobago, most of them would have gone to school, they would have studied, and what have you. But the campaign still resembles a campaign of the 1960s and 1970s. You've been looking at the politics of the day. Sure. Why? Why is it like that? Why we cannot change from the issue or the matter of ethnicity? Why we cannot change as a people, our political culture? Why?
Whenever you have two large populations, different, well, in our case, of East Indian descent, of African descent, West African descent, you will always find people will always be suspicious of each other. Even more so when it is perpetuated by the politicians who use these different races to further their own personal agendas and ends. You speak of education. Education doesn't mean that you're intelligent. You have many doctors and lawyers and accountants and engineers, many people with their MBAs who would get the largest and biggest certificates, first-class honors. But it doesn't mean you are intelligent. What you have done is you have simply regurgitated back from book to paper, and you have passed an exam. As an academic certificate is like a passport, like a visa. It simply allows you to move one step higher. If you want to travel from here to the United States, you need a visa, you need a passport. That is what your academic certificates are. If you are incapable of using the knowledge that you have gained by study in such a manner as to open your mind to be a critical thinker, and to open your mind to making a contribution from an objective perspective, then your education would have failed you. And what we have happening in Trinidad and Tobago is that we have many people with the alphabet behind their names, but when it comes to critical thinking, they are functional illiterates because they are unable to critically analyze different scenarios to come to a particular outcome. Why is it, Ken, when you look into the past and you see men like Vivian Paul, you see men like C.L.R. James, you see men like Renard Capildeo, you see men like Dr. Eric Williams, you see men like the Sinanans, the Sukarans, and when you look at Parliament today, there's a total, maybe a different caliber of people in Parliament. When you listen to debates in Parliament, Ken, you find parliamentarians in the chamber reading from a piece of paper. Whereas in Parliament, it is supposed to be you could stand on your feet and debate a point without having to read from a piece of paper. So there's a difference between education and intelligence. There's a difference between literacy and functional illiteracy. And I think that is exactly what we have. We have become so enmeshed and entrapped in the concept of them and us, so enmeshed and entrapped in the concept of African and Indian, so enmeshed and entrapped in the concept of Trinidadian and Tobagonian, that we have lost sight of the fact that we are one people, one nation under God, and that every single one of us who have come to Trinidad and Tobago came here because of the plantation system.
So how do we address this? Because I'm saying this to you. Here it is, you have the People's National Movement and by extension the United National Congress. When results are tallied at the end of any general election, you will see a great percentage of the electorate not voting. Agreed?
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
The question is, how do we get this group of people to participate and to be part of the governance process? We're looking here now at independent candidates. We're also looking here too now at a constitutional reform. Share your thoughts with me on that.
If I had the answer to that question, Ken, I would be contesting the election today. How do you get those who do not vote to take part in the electoral process? About 40% maybe would not take part, sometimes as high as 45, 50% at times will not take part in the electoral process. I think it comes down to education. I've always made the point, I think our education system would have failed us miserably in one sense, and that is we do not teach the history of Trinidad and Tobago, and therefore our people are disconnected from Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago is simply a place where we live, whereas you have many people they are born in Trinidad, grown up in Trinidad, and feel more attached to the United States, attached to Canada, attached to India, attached to Africa, in a generic way. The point I'm making is, unless we can teach people the history of this country, the battles, the struggles, the victories, the losses, how we would have shaped and molded what is our nation, Trinidad and Tobago, you will always find people being disconnected and unable to own Trinidad and Tobago, that it belongs to them, that I am Trinidad and Tobago. We have really lost that sense, or maybe we never had it in the first place, that sense of total patriotism and nationalism to our country. It has to do with a lack of historical knowledge. It has to do with the education system. It has to do with the generic history that is being taught, whereas 99% of our educated individuals who come out of the university or study abroad and come back cannot tell you the first thing about the history of Trinidad and Tobago. And that is the problem, Ken. People have not bought into the concept of what is Trinidad and Tobago.
Would you agree that one of the ways to address the non-participation of this group of people, we're talking about that group of people who do not vote either PNM or UNC, one of the ways to address this and to give them a greater voice in Parliament in the decision process is policy. And policy, we're talking about constitutional reform. We're talking about constitutional reform. Share your thoughts with me on that.
Certainly, there's no doubt in my mind that the Westminster-style system of government would have served us well maybe after independence from colonial times. However, I do believe that the time has come for serious constitutional reform to introduce some type of proportional representation in order to give a voice to those who may lie outside of the realm of the geopolitics of Trinidad and Tobago. We need constitutional reform so that different groups of persons could have a voice in Parliament through the question of proportional representation. I think that is the only way, because the Westminster-style system of government breeds animosity, it breeds discontent, it leads to a lot of disillusionment, it leads to people feeling disenfranchised because of one thing. The Westminster-style system of government is based on the concept of party paramountcy. Winner takes all, full stop. So you may have a minority of votes, but you could still form the government because of the amount of seats or constituencies that you would have gained. That leaves a lot of people feeling disillusioned and disenfranchised. And you are right, Ken, I agree with you 100%. We need constitutional reform, and perhaps we need to introduce some type of proportional representation. However, I do not know whether you would see that or I will see that in our lifetimes, because the Westminster-style system of government serves the interests of those who believe I'm a PNM till a dead or a UNC till a dead. It serves that interest. And therefore it is hardly likely, unless you could gain a 3/5 majority in Parliament, whereby you have the political will to introduce that change, then we will be spinning top in mud. There are only 3 times in the history of this country, I believe, that any government would have had that 3/5 majority and 2/3 majority by itself, and could have instituted any change they wanted in the country, even change the constitution if they wished, without the need for the opposition. And that was under the days of Eric Williams I, A.N.R. Robinson, and Kamala Prasad Bisesa. I think they are the only 3 prime ministers in this country who ever had the majority in Parliament without needing the opposition, who could have implemented the necessary changes, Ken.
It is strange, Mr. Marge. We've been talking constitutional reform, proportional representation since the 1970s, even when I was a student at UWI. And you have government come and government go. And I want to give credit to the United National Congress here, or the People's Partnership Administration, for trying to engage in some level of a proportional representation. But my question to you is this: why are decision makers, policy makers, reluctant to press forward with this matter?
No, but you have to ask yourself the question: if the People's Partnership had that 3/5 majority and 2/3 majority in Parliament, they could have implemented the change if they wished.
Okay.
When you talk about giving credit, and fine, I do give credit for the level of proportional representation introduced in the local election campaign. But then you have to look at the politics of it. At that time, you had Jack Warner's ILP, which had garnered the support of 100 and something thousand people, which could have changed the dynamics of the local elections. So what you have happening is, in my point of view, the introduction, I'm talking objectively here, like an analyst if I have to, the introduction of proportional representation at the local government level was really designed to ensure that even though you lost seats, the amount of votes you got, you could still have representation in the councils. So what it meant, I thought it was simply a measure taken by the then government to ensure if indeed the Jack Warner's ILP had made a massive sweep, that the UNC would have still had representation in the local councils as a result of proportional representation, because I think at that time no one was sure how that local election was going to pan out. Was it in 2013? I think it was.
Yeah, it was 2013. Yes.
But if you truly wanted to implement constitutional reform, you could have.
All right.
If you had the majority like that, yes.
I want to go back again to what we were talking here about this morning about candidates and smaller parties and so on. I think that the country would have been caught by surprise this morning with the news that Mr. Jack Warner has now decided to contest the election as an independent candidate. He is contesting the Lopino Bonnet West seat.
I don't know. I don't know whether it's true or not.
Let's look at independent candidates. Independent candidates. The relevance of independent candidates in the scheme of things.
You see, when we talk about the relevance of independent candidates and we speak of as to the need for small parties or not, what we are effectively doing is we are saying that Trinidad and Tobago is a two-party system, that no other person should have the democratic or constitutional right to engage in the electoral process as they see fit. And therefore, when you keep speaking as to third parties and small parties and independent candidates in a derogatory manner, laughing and jeering at them, you are moving away from the point that you still have people with the courage to stand up. Whether it's one man getting one vote and the country laughs at him, you still have people with the courage who are able to stand up and say, I do not support the UNC, I do not support the PNM, and I want to exercise my constitutional and democratic right to engage in the electoral process as I see fit. We have been so cultured and brainwashed into thinking that it is either UNC or PNM and nothing else matters. I'm a UNC till I'm dead or a PNM till I'm dead and nothing else matters. And when we do that, what we are effectively doing is undermining in thought and concept our own constitutional right to engage in the process, our democratic right as per the Constitution, which is sovereign.
Well, your message to those people who are the supporters of the UNC or the People's National Movement, what would you say to them?
Well, I have nothing to say to them. I've learned, in fact, I shouldn't say this on air, but I've learned that people will have their own points of view and their reasons why they would support political parties. I ask one question that I always do. If Trinidad and Tobago was one race of people, what criteria would you use to vote a political party? If you remove the dynamic of race, Indian or African, from the equation, what criteria would you use to vote either the PNM or the UNC? And if you could answer that honestly, then maybe, just maybe, the process of change will begin.
Well, let me attempt an answer, and I think the answer here is to vote on issues of the day and the party that you think can take the country forward, delivering on its promises. When we come back, I want to talk about, all these parties have the document, the policies, and the vision, the manifesto. We're going to talk about that. We're going to also talk about what is happening in Guyana, because this matter in Guyana has now attracted not only regional leaders, but international leaders.
Of course.
We're going to talk about that a bit more. Let's take the 8 o'clock newscast with Umar Ratan Singh. And when we come back, we'll continue our discussion here with Mr. Nirvan Maraj, the President General of the Old Trinidad General Workers Trade Union. Stay with us here, 975 FM, Hot Like Pepper. We'll be right back after the 8 o'clock newscast. Stay with us here.
Kenrick.
Time has come. New 97.5. Make it your choice. Something for everyone. 975 FM. Music for you. It's all about you.
97.5 FM, Hot Like Pepper, multicultural radio.
Power to the listeners.
It is now time for Major News to the Hour, brought to you by Crystal Beverages Company, Super Quality Supermarket, Sheikh Elisha Limited, and the Trinidad and Tobago News Day.
This is the 8 a.m. news on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio. I am Uma Ratan Singh. Good morning. Trinidad and Tobago has a water bill of $800 million. The figure was revealed by Acting Chief Executive Officer of the Water and Sewerage Authority, Alan Poon-King. He said the figure represents both commercial and residential bills. The authority is encouraging customers to pay their bills. Poon-King said the authority is aware of the economic drawbacks many citizens may be facing due to the pandemic, but where possible, they need those in good standing to pay their bills. WASA cannot rely on their water restriction drive for extra income. And continuing, the Ministry of National Security is reminding all persons, particularly political parties and their supporters, that public health restrictions designed to fight the spread of COVID-19 are still in place. This reminder comes 3 weeks ahead of the elections as campaigning for the polls increase. It has been observed that especially political party supporters and prospective candidates are congregating in public places in groups of more than 25, which is unsafe practice and breaches the public health regulation. As such, members of the public are reminded to abide by the COVID-19 regulations, which are currently in place to avoid the creation of an environment that promotes the spread of COVID-19, as breaches of the ordinance carry sanctions. The Muslim community will soon benefit from their own community cemetery, as they will now have access to state land for the establishment of a Muslim cemetery. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley was present at the Subrati Trace Masjid in Barrackpore on Wednesday for the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between the government and Muslim leaders of the Princestown Regional Cooperation. Among those who attended the event were Minister of Rural Development and Local Government, Kazim Hussein, Minister of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries, Clarence Rambarat, and representatives from the Princestown Regional Corporation, along with the chairman of the Roja Douglas Road Barrackpore Muslim Cemetery Committee, Nizam Mohammed, and other committee members. The King's Wharf fishing facility will remain there for fishermen to ply their trade. This comes while the Urban Development Corporation of Trinidad and Tobago moves forward with the Waterfront Development Project. The decision was made on Wednesday following a consultation between the Fisheries Division and concerned fishermen. The fishermen have been demanding that they remain at the current fishing facility and not be relocated. However, during the consultation, UDCOT presented the updated architectural design, which incorporated the suggestions tabled by the fishermen. The amendments also included the request by the fisher folk to remain at the current facility. And that brings us to the end of the 8 a.m. news. I am Uma Ratan Singh, wishing you a very good morning.
That was Major News to the Hour, brought to you by Crystal Beverages Company, Super Quality Supermarket, Sheikh Leisha Limited, and the Trinidad and Tobago Newsday. A&S Hardware and the General Contractors Limited of 107 Bonaventure Road in Gasparillo. For all your hardware materials from foundation to finish. Not forgetting all your general contracting needs. We have it all at A&S Hardware and General Contractors Limited, located at 107 Bonaventure Road in Gasparillo. Just call Tiki Ali at 650-2180.
A&S Hardware are wholesalers and retailers of plywood, an assortment of lumber, galvanized pipe, hollow section, and steel. Customers can enjoy special prices on white pine and pitch pine doors.
Kathy's Cool Spot Enterprises Limited, number 86 Pearville, opposite the TSTT Exchange in Mayaro. We specialize in all types of meats, dry goods, liqueur, beverages, ice, LPG, gas, motor oils, stationery supplies, and photocopying. We also provide rentals of tents and chairs for your every occasion. Come in and take advantage of our specials at reduced prices on liqueur, wholesale and retail. We are open every day, even on public holidays, for your convenience. TT Post services are available here at Kathy's Cool Spot Enterprises Limited of number 86 Pearville, Mayaro, where our friendly staff will be happy to serve you.
The following is a paid political announcement.
This ad brought to you by the PNM.
Sign my name with a golden pen, a golden pen. Sign my name, yeah. Anyway, we vote in PNM. Sign my name, it's a PNM pen, a PNM pen. I want you sign my name, it's a PNM pen. We vote in PNM.
On August 10th, vote PNM. Great is the PNM.
That was a paid political announcement.
Puzzle lovers, rejoice! Your free 24-page Newsday puzzle book is now available twice a week, only in your Trinidad and Tobago Newsday. Now you really can look forward to staying home. Newsday, independent and credible.
Mr. Trinidad, tell me what scene you on. Do you just like political confusion? You criticizing the way you live, yet you can't produce an alternative. You say you against the power structure, you ain't like the opposition either. But take care, you jump out the hot water and end up in the center of the fire. Because you refuse to vote in election, but then you want revolution. You're strongly against communism. You walk out on colonialism. You say Eric William had to go, but who to replace him? You ain't know. So to make a long story short from in front, Trinidadians ain't really know what they want. My friend, if you don't want democracy, the opposite is guerrilla activity. If you don't want democratic improvement, you have to want a revolutionist government. And yet when Guy Harewood went in the hills with Jennifer Jones, you let them get killed. All you're doing is grinning and skylarking. You come like the ass in the lion's skin, because you say Robinson is a traitor. You say worse than that about Granger. You say Kamal seeking his own interest. You call Millet a Marxist-Leninist. You are ODAC, neither DLP, and you say PNM is only ratchet. Well, you tying up yourself. I gonna tell you why. Trinidadians just like plenty mama guy.
Well, in the Calypso there, Maestro is saying that Trinidadians really do not know what they want. I want to pose that question to my good friend Nirvan Maharaj this morning, because I know that's one of your favorite Calypsos. Trinidadians really do know what they want, Mr. Maharaj. Yes or no?
I agree with the Calypsonians. We don't know what we want.
All right. So let's move on. Now,
The election is just about 3 weeks away, Mr. Maraj. You come from the bowels of the trade union movement, so to speak, of course. We have 3 candidates who I can identify off the top of my head who would have also come from that jurisdiction. One, David Abdullah. You also have Rudy Inder Singh and Dr. Rudal Munilal. And I don't know if it would have escaped me, but correct me if I'm wrong, that the issues and protection of workers' rights, the issue of a reform, the issue of bringing greater legislation to protect workers in this country have not been articulated on the platform thus far. I don't know whether it's in the manifesto of these respective political parties, but to me, it's something which must be of concern to you as a president of the All Trinidad General Workers Trade Union. Your thoughts?
Well, certainly it is. It is of great concern, and I will tell you why. We have heard nothing from the PNM or any PNM candidate or individual speaking to Labour. We have heard nothing from the United National Congress, Dr. Rudal Munilal, Gujranat Inder Singh. None would have spoken on the platform so far with regard to Labour. I don't know whether they spoke on any platform at all so far. We have heard nothing from David Abdullah in terms of Labour. We have heard him on other issues. And you are right, I am deeply not only concerned but disappointed on that. There are so many issues affecting Labour, so many issues that needs to be articulated, and one would expect that those who emerged from Labour would be the ones to speak on Labour. We have heard nothing about the reform of Labour legislation. We have heard nothing about amendments to the Industrial Relations Act. We have heard nothing about amendments to the Retrenchment and Severance Benefit Act. We have heard nothing about amendments to the Companies Act. We have heard nothing about amendments with regard to the policies and regulations of the Recognition and Certification Board. We have heard nothing with regard to giving greater power to the Industrial Court. We have heard nothing about an indemnity fund to be set up in case of foreign companies winding up and being unable to pay workers who have been laid off or retrenched. We have heard nothing of these issues, and it is extremely disappointing. Instead, I think what is happening is that we are seeing certain individuals, even within the Labour movement, and you know, I ask no quarter and I give none. I speak my mind, whether I'm liked or not. I have seen certain individuals within the Labour movement who seem to be aligning themselves and speaking in a particular manner, aligning themselves to political parties, when in truth and in fact they should be speaking to or with the political parties about the necessary legislative reform for the better of the working class of Trinidad and Tobago. And we have not seen anything like that, Ken. I think it seems as though the politics of personality and the politics of self-interest is taking precedent over the politics of the people. And that is a sad day indeed.
It's interesting to note that some who are very critical of the Keith Rowley administration, let me rephrase, the Dr. Keith Rowley administration, critical in the sense that they have termed his administration anti-Labour. Some of these very same people today are aligning themselves with that particular political party, and by extension also to the United National Congress. One can throw your mind back where a certain memorandum of understanding would have been signed on, and yet you have some of these very same people who would have been part of that entire scenario are now throwing their support behind the UNC.
Well, Ken, at the risk of being labeled by even my own colleagues in the Labour movement, I look at what is happening, look at the statements being made, and you could very well know who or which Labour leaders support the UNC and which Labour leaders support the PNM. That's all I will say at this point in time.
All right, but as a Labour leader, and you represent a number of people from various companies, going forward, after August 10th, what are some of your recommendations to the government, the sitting government of the day? What are some of your recommendations to them to greater protect workers in this country?
Well, again, it's like I've always said, you need the creation of an indemnity fund as an insurance for the ordinary working class, where companies will contribute to, as well as the government, in the event of insolvency and winding up of companies. You need, as I said, to reform the different labor legislation to put workers, for example, the Companies Act. You need to put workers at the top of the list of priorities in the case of the wind up of a company, because as I said before, financial institutions like the banks, government agencies like TNTech, for example, they could stand a loss, but the ordinary worker who depends on a salary at the end of the month to survive, that worker will be unable to stand a loss in terms of the retrenchment or in terms of wind-up, and therefore he needs to be placed at the top of the creditor list with regard to the Companies Act, so that he will be satisfied first. You need to reform the industrial court. You need to give greater power to the court to enforce its own judgment. I have suggested that the industrial court and the appointment of industrial court judges fall within the realm of the Legal and Judicial Services Commission in order to take away the political aspect of it, where industrial court judges to a very large extent will be appointed by the political directorate. You need to give the judges security of tenure rather than 3-year contracts, so that they will be able to make pronouncements and judgment. Not that I'm saying they are unable to do so now, but you have to always ensure that there may be an exception. Give them security of tenure so their independence will be maintained and they are not subjected to a renewal of contract by the political directorate. You need to give the recognition and certification board policies. You need these changes in these policies with regard to recognition of unions. In Trinidad and Tobago, a union could take years before it is recognized in order to represent a company. So there are many, many things, Ken, and what is sad is that you have people who would have emerged from the bowels of labor, and you have not heard one word from them with regard to this issue. And what is even sadder is you have labor leaders today who are so focused and intent on condemning either one of the political parties for their own reasons, for whoever they support secretly, that they are not articulating the issues for both parties to hear. So they are focused on channeling attacks on one or the other party, but they are not speaking from an objective perspective so that both parties will hear what it is they want. And I think that is the problem we have today with labor as per the elections of August the 10th.
All right, let me provoke you here this morning, Mr. Maraj, and looking at the politics of the day. Watson Duke heads the PSA. He also heads a political party in Tobago. Yes. He is contesting the 2 seats in Tobago, Tobago East and Tobago West. How important are those 2 seats for the political survivability of the People's National Movement and by extension the United National Congress? In this case, could we see Duke emerging as the kingmaker? Just analyze that for me.
Nothing in politics would surprise me. That's a famous saying by Basil Pandey. And if we go back, put our minds back, you would see where the 2 seats in Tobago assisted the United National Congress in forming the government. I think it was in 95. So therefore, you do not write off the possibility of Duke becoming a kingmaker. I would hope that if he does, that his interest will also be on labor and labor legislation, and he would make demands as the president of the PSA in order to ensure that the working class is properly represented by proper labor legislation. I think what works for Duke is that unlike Trinidad and Tobago, where a majority of the population seems intent, or the voting population seems intent on voting on the issue of race and the party system, in Tobago to a very large extent, you're looking at one race of individual persons, and you have Tobago with a history of sometimes voting on Tobago issues rather than voting on political party. Because the PNM has found itself in trouble in Tobago in the past, as you are fully aware. I think what happened in 2016, was it, or 2013? 2013 THA elections, I think it was around there, was it? The last THA, the one before that, where PNM won 12 seats. I think the UNC, the interference by the highest levels of the People's Partnership government into the affairs of Tobago would have adversely affected Ashwo Jack at that time. But Tobagonians, I think to a very large extent, and I don't mean to stereotype, but for what I've seen from history, sometimes it is easier to get a change of support there than it is in Trinidad and Tobago, Ken. So I would not write off Watson Duke. I'm not saying that he will win or lose, but what I'm saying is that nothing would surprise me when it comes to Tobago.
But you talk about a change in support. Share with me, because you would have traveled to Tobago on a number of occasions.
Quite regularly, almost every month, every 2 months, we do business there.
On union business and what have you. And you would... to a certain extent, grasp what is happening on the ground with the people of Tobago. Share your thoughts with me. Here it is, you have a situation developing in Tobago where you have Watson Duke, the People's National Movement, and you have smaller parties. Are there similarities in the whole political culture, political scenario in Tobago as opposed to Trinidad? I'm saying that to you because you have a number of smaller parties in Tobago that are opposed to the policies of the People's National Movement. You have, they call themselves the One Voice. You're talking about Crystalline Moore and the Tobago Forwards, Ashwo Jack and TOP, and Ho Choi Childs. Yet this grouping cannot come together to move in one direction to topple the People's National Movement. Mr. Duke would have made attempted some sort of measures to bring this grouping together, but that would have failed. There are similarities with what is happening here in Trinidad and Tobago, where you have smaller parties opposed to the policies of the People's National Movement. And I'm saying that to you in light of what Kamla Persad-Bissessar is saying this morning. Let's all come together to defeat the People's National Movement.
Yeah, but when you say come together, you have to understand that different people and different leaders may have different political ideologies and philosophical ideologies. With regard to Tobago, for example, you have, as you said, the Tobago One Voice, I think it is.
Yeah, Tobago One Voice.
One Voice. You have Duke, but remember, Duke is a minority leader in the THA. And that can be equivalent to the United National Congress opposition in Trinidad and Tobago, if we want to look at it like that. So certainly, the others in Tobago, the other small parties, can't expect to form a coalition or come together with Duke on their terms. It is going to have to happen on the Duke terms, because he holds the minority power in Tobago. It is the same in Trinidad. If the opposition leader calls for unity and calls for everyone to get together, you don't expect small parties to join the UNC and expect the UNC to adhere or give in to the ideology of these small parties while giving up their own. He who holds the power and he who pays the piper would call the tune, and therefore Kamla Persad-Bissessar has 18 seats in Parliament, and anyone who wishes to become part of the opposition to the PNM will have to adhere to the direction that has been taken by Kamla Persad-Bissessar. Kamla Persad-Bissessar do not have to adhere to the direction of Abdullah or Philip Alexander or Nirvan Maraj, for that case if the NSA was contesting, or Abu Bakr or whoever it may be. She has the 18 seats, and therefore she would have to call the shots.
All right.
That is how it is. I'm afraid that's the practical reality of the situation.
I just want to share with you, Mr. Maraj, a paragraph as published in one of the newspapers here today. United National Congress leader Kamla Persad-Bissessar, who is predicting her party will win the August 10 general election, has called for those from other political sides who are fed up with the People's National Movement to unite to fight them in a national accord initiative. Too late, Mr. Maraj, to make this call?
Well, certainly, if today's nomination day, because if you call for a coming together, you need to understand and ask yourself what it is the smaller parties would want. After there may be small parties, for example, who believe they have a very good chance and would have wanted to, perhaps in Port of Spain, for example, instead of the UNC putting up a candidate, they fight it as part of a national accord or a coalition. So I think perhaps it may be a bit too late in the minds of some of the small parties, yes, especially those who may be contesting the elections and who have already put up their own candidates.
Okay, Mr. Maraj, let's shift gears here now as we continue to look at what is happening in the region. When last you would have appeared on this program, we touched on what is happening in Guyana. Some new developments have now been taken, where you have Mike Pompeo, who is the U.S. Secretary of State.
Foreign Secretary of State.
Foreign Secretary of State. He would have made a certain pronouncement calling for visa restrictions and threatening visa restrictions. I don't know if it's a policy as yet. The impact that the Guyana election is having in the region and outside of the region. CARICOM chairman, Dr. Ralph Gonzalez, is saying this morning that it is time to stop the charade and let the voice of the people of Guyana be heard, and Granger should step aside. Share your thoughts with me.
Well, there's no doubt in my mind, as I've said it before, there are many politicians who attempt to use the court. Because from the time you file a matter in the court, it has to be heard, unless you withdraw it. That is the concept of justice. And I agree with Barajagdeo that it seems now in Guyana that the politicians are attempting to keep stalling the process by filing matters in the court. Matters that may very well be frivolous and spurious, but you file it, and once it's filed, it has to be heard. I think the situation in Guyana has gone on too long. I think it's almost 4 months an election would have called. I think the international community, the observers, the CARICOM observers, foreign observers, I think everyone is now fed up of the shenanigans and the charlatan behavior of the Granger government with regard to what's happening. And something has to give. And I see that the United States of America would have announced that policy of implementing individual sanctions against members of the Granger government.
And by extension, their families.
And their families. So I don't know how that is going to pan out. My only concern, as I've said before, is that in the absence of foreign intervention or United Nations intervention in a tangible and physical way, then until such time, then I'm very fearful for the people of Guyana and how this may play out on the people of Guyana. I'm fearful of the use of the police and the army in Guyana, because we saw what happened under Forbes Burnham at one point in time. So like everyone else, I can just look on and hope for the best, that good sense will prevail. Because if good sense does not prevail, then we could see civil unrest. Even worse than what would have happened under the Forbes Burnham regime taking place in Guyana.
Well, that would have been my other question to you. And here you have it that CARICOM, the Organization of American States, the European Union, the Carter Center, and other independent observers, including those from CARICOM, the governments of Canada, the United Kingdom, and the USA, have pronounced on this matter essentially with one voice. Yet the dangerous political game continues.
But as I've said, I am not so concerned with the international observers making comments. Whatever organizations they may belong to. What I'm concerned about is the Granger government. If you have a general election and you have to go to court to determine the outcome, then something has gone wrong with your own internal process. And therefore the Granger government has to do the honorable thing and resign. International organizations would make comments based on what their own agendas are. For example, with the same Venezuelan issue and the Rio Treaty, for example. I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about internally, if after 4 months of a general election, you have this back and forth, and you cannot, by empirical evidence, show you have won the election and the opposition has lost, or vice versa, then something has gone wrong with your system.
Mr. Maraj, we're coming to the end of our conversation, but I cannot let you go without provoking you with this question this morning. As a political observer, a trade unionist, and a leader of a political party, looking at the political scenario, looking on at the campaign, is it a bit too premature at this time to look into your crystal ball
and give me your take. Give me your take as to how this election will swing.
I can look into my crystal ball, and I do have a personal point of view, which I will give to you after August the 10th on how that pans out.
Answering like a true politician, my friend. Mr. Maraj, always a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much, Ken.
Thank you very much for being part of our program this morning. As I said, I enjoy engaging you in conversation. I'm looking forward to being in your company again next week Friday. Thank you very much.
Take care and all the best. Thank you.
The voice there of Mr. Nirvan Maraj, the President General of the All Trinidad General Workers Trade Union, being here with us this morning on today's edition of U Talk on 975. Let me take a commercial break this morning, and when I come back, we'll continue. Stay with us here.
Mr. Trinidad, tell me what scene you on. Do you just like political confusion? You criticizing the way you live, yet you can't produce an alternative. You say you against the power structure. You ain't like the opposition either. But take care, you jump out the hot water and end up in the center of the fire. Because you refuse to vote in election, but then you want revolution. You're strongly against communism. You walk out on colonialism. You say Eric William had to go, but who to replace him? You ain't know. So to make a long story short from in front, Trinidadians ain't really know what they want. My friend, if you don't want democracy, the opposite is guerrilla activity. If you don't want democratic improvement, you have to want a revolutionist government. And yet when Guy Harewood went in the hills with Jennifer Jones, you let them get killed. All you're doing is grinning and skylarking. You come like the ass in the lion's skin, because you say Robinson is a traitor. You say worse than that about Granger. You say Kamal seeking his own interest. You call Millet a Marxist-Leninist. You are ODAC, neither DLP, and you say PNM is only ratchet. Well, you tying up yourself. I gonna tell you why. Trinidadians just like plenty mama guy. Afro-Trinidadian talking black power. It's not wrong for a man to love his culture. Yes, you walk around with your Afro plait and you're dragging alpagat and patsapat. But although they're rapping about Africa, you're eating roti like if you're born in India. So who you gonna blame when you make your book and end up like a cat on a hunting rope? Because you say you're going Afro all the way. Let you smile when they bring in Tony May. William say he want to retire. You beg him to stay a little longer. You reject Carl's act on public order. Now you want the same Carl for Prime Minister. Like your sense of reasoning goes and comes. It won't surprise me if you call back Albert Gumbs. that you didn't want no dictator, yet you want one fella to reign forever. About Ed Malik, you say he guilty. Parmasadi the same, yet you set him free. Long ago you didn't want Fidel Castro, but now you say the same Castro is a hero. Well, this attitude, like Humpty Dumpty, you might fall off the wall eventually. Because you say Butler was too high-handed. Even Maraj, uneducated. You say that we can't trust Jamada. You find Sukaran to Konkosa. You say the accent is on the young man, yet you run and call back as Sinanan. But you won't call back until you call disaster, like the colonial days of the slave master.
The following is a paid political announcement.
This ad brought to you by the PNM.
All will be fine. Look, we made the right choice every time. Still a job to be done and a race to be won, and we know we will win every time. Just keep the faith, heads up high. We're together in this, you and I. Yes, the job will be done and the race will be won, and we know we will win every time. And we go vote for the love of we country. We go vote to protect the treasury. Vote is only Dr. Rowley. The right choice for TNT. PNM is the choice. PNM is the voice. PNM all the way on election day is the right choice at the right time. Hands in the air for the police. Hey.
On August 10th, vote PNM. Great is the PNM.
That was a paid political announcement.
Hello, I am Rajendra Ramprasad, your PNM candidate for Couva South. I ask for your support to take Couva South into government and to improve the quality of life for all of us. I have specific plans to create jobs, to improve agriculture, to revive Point Lisas, and to develop our infrastructure, also to enhance security. As a person born in Dow Village, California, and started my education at Esperanza Presbyterian School, I want to use my years as a successful businessman and a resident of Couva South to partner with you to make our communities better. I ask for your vote on August the 10th. Vote Rajendra Ramprasad, the right choice for a better Couva South. Vote PNM.
Yes, it's just about 22 minutes here to the hour of 9 o'clock, and note that time check came to you through the kind KTC of Mr. Rajendra Ramprasad, who is the People's National Movement candidate for the constituency of Couva South. And as we look at the elections, the 2020 general election, today, of course, is nomination day. And let me explain to you what nomination day is all about. Well, candidates for the August 10 general election will today file nomination documents with the Election and Boundaries Commission's returning officers in Trinidad and Tobago's 41 constituencies to register for the election. According to the regulations, all candidates must pay a $5,000 deposit. So this is what we call about candidates who would have failed to capture a certain amount of votes, a percentage of votes, you would have lost your deposit. So you must pay this $5,000. They must win 1/8 of the votes cast in their constituency in order to retrieve their deposit. Well, I would have told you that already. Up to yesterday, about 13 parties and over 133 candidates had emerged as well as independent candidates. The EBC will issue a final figure tonight after all figures are collated. The EBC's communication division yesterday said the nomination exercise will run from around 9 o'clock this morning until noon and from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. So one can imagine what will happen in just about 10 or 15 minutes' time. There will be TASA, motorcades, and all sort of paraphernalia as the various political parties muster support from party supporters for today's nomination day. Okay, so let's look at what is happening now in the politics of the day. And I posed this question to Mr. Maraj here this morning, and in his opinion, it's a bit too late. Here it is, Kamla Prasad Bisesa, the political leader of the United National Congress, is calling on all those entities, let me use that word, entities, to muster together, to come together, to unite, to fight the People's National Movement. It is called National Accord Initiative. Let's take this call on the line. Hello, good morning, welcome, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Kenrick. Good morning, Mr. Anduki. I mean, Ms. Nicole Duki. Special good morning to you.
You can't get it right, boy. It's Nicole Duki.
But Mr. Kenrick, I'm trying to get in since 6:35, and your program really improving. I mean, we are not number one and we plus number one. You know? I don't know, the program very interactive. I must say the only program really interact on different topics and so on.
Well, we try to keep on top of all of the major developments.
Let's keep it up by, let's really look all, keep it up like that, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
But I'm going to topics out of my mind. What I want to deal with, I think at this point in time, right, apparently the opposition leaders sensing the single parties picking up some of them picking up some good steam, eh? And we could see a little change in Trinidad and some of the seats that we think are safe seats, eh? And I think she should have said it a little earlier. You know, it's looking like you want to kind of like.
Yeah. So you're saying
yes, something genuine then. Yes, something genuine right now.
It's a bit too late. Yes.
Yeah. Yes, something genuine. I think from before, because at the end of the day, if these people can take on some of these people going up independent in a second, and got to raise a little 5,000, and I think that's a real love for China because somebody could take up that initiative on themselves, in order just to try to make a difference. So seeing that kind of initiative, you should have chatted these people before, and they can say the same thing, but a little earlier. That is my take on it for now.
All right, friend. Well, thank you very much for your contribution. Yes, Kamla Prasad Bisesa, she's making this appeal to all political entities who are opposed to the policies of the People's National Movement to unite in one entity, the National Accord Initiative. Some of the view, well, as a matter of fact, those who I would have spoken to are of the view that the call is a bit too late this morning. Hello, good morning, and welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Morning, Kenrick. Good morning, Nico.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning.
First to begin, I want to wish all you a good weekend.
Well, I'll be here on Sunday, my friend.
I just hear you saying that, number one, I hear Abu Bakr apologize for 1990 coup. Well, thank God at least he's living up till today to apologize.
Yeah, but what about compensation to those people who would have lost their lives in that 1990 attempted coup?
He want compensation for what he had done. That's all he was in the court. But anyway, he really mean that he wanted a limelight, anything to show himself. That basically what it. I hear the lady saying that to move a wicked government. I hear she saying that everybody must come together to move that wicked government. Did she say anything about herself wicked? She didn't put herself in that bracket as a wicked person to watch his supporters and who she run for, who live and run away from the UNC complex, the land, the people who return their land, the people who return their money, the people. But Rashid Karim, did he ask them questions to what she, when he was supporting she in Kakani Road? These are the questions these fellows supposed to be asking she before they support she. And Rashid Karim should be saying what he gets between 2010 and 2015 to support she in this point in time when people in Shabonas were still waiting for Caroni land and waiting for the land and the creek and left it. That is what they should be talking about. So she also joined the band of wickedness too later.
All right, my friend. Look, I would have exhausted this matter, yeah, and I think it's beating an old horse as to why. The question is still being asked why the government of the day cannot take certain measures to bring back all nationals wanting to get back into the country. I would have exhausted that, and I would have offered my own opinion. And who vexed lost? I agree with the government of the day and the position taken by Dr. Keith Rowley and Minister of National Security. Who vexed lost? You called me this morning and challenged me. Hello, good morning, and welcome to 97.5. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello? Hello. All right. Sorry to have missed your call, my friend, but you need to call us back at 636-7547, 227-5739. You can also WhatsApp us at 378-4975. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Good morning, Cameron. Good morning, Fernando.
Good morning, Larry. How are you going, man? What's happening?
I just left home and following traffic heading up to Shipona here right now on the highway. I got to understand an alert TNT on Facebook. A video circulated that a fatal accident. One man has been killed on the Mission Road. Then the traffic I just browsing through and I saw that. But Kenrick is a laughing matter this morning in Trinidad and Tobago. Apology, call for unity, and what again? Them calling UNC candidates criminals, all kind of things. Kenrick is a laughing stock in this country.
But we have people in this country who prostituting themselves as leaders. But they are all a set of hypocrites and jokers, you know. A set of jokers. Yeah.
Exactly. One man coming back to run for independent, who name have to be declared. You know, I mean, everybody in this country at this particular time maybe already made up their mind who they want to vote for. I mean, that is understandable. But when you look at the headlines and you see what is taking place, I was awakened this morning to see that Mr. Jack Warner asked your mother running back for independence. I had to laugh this morning, then listening to Abubakar apologizing to the country where people lost their lives, their businesses, everything. I laugh. You know why? We in this country love it. We love it. It's bacchanal every single day in this country. What next to expect? I love the interview with Mr. Maraj, with enough respect to Mr. Maraj this morning. You know, if Mr. Maraj was running his party for election, and I say it bold-facedly, Kenrick, I would have supported Mr. Maraj and whatever candidate he put in my community to run for. You know what, Kenrick? We have 3 weeks for election. Let me tell you this, up to now, in my community, we have seen a ketchup, we have seen a mustard yet. You understand where I'm coming from? It is very, very quiet in my community, and I can say that.
Well, hold on. You know, there's a reason for that. Because the United National Congress knows that come high, come low, flood, no flood, the people of Apinal, Debe, and Barcom, by extension, will vote for the UNC. No, hold on.
I want to talk to the candidate about getting things done and making them agree to what I am saying in my community. I can meet them. He or she, I can meet them. Even representative from the United National Congress. If you want my vote, if you want really my vote and my vote counts, and you say that that's a safe seat, well, that's a wake-up call, you know? That's a wake-up call, because up to now, 3 weeks before election, not a single person who walk in, either both sides of the party and opposition. Nobody. And you're telling yourself 3 weeks for election, here what's going on. I wait and I laughing. And I say it again, if Mr. Maraj was running in this election, I would have given 1,000% of my support, whichever candidate he put up, because he have good policy structure for this country to go forward.
All right, Larry, thank you very much. Well, let me finish my statement. Yeah. And the People's National Movement knows that it's a losing matter. They're starting last in the race and we finish last in the race, especially when it comes to Oropouche East and Oropouche West. So there's no need for the People's National Movement to campaign there. It's a waste of resources, in my humble opinion. And the United National Congress knows that they do not have to campaign, Larry. They do not have to campaign. They do not have to come to you and solicit your vote, because they know the majority of voters will support them in the 2020 general election. That's a fact. Who vexed lost? I call it as I see it. And that's the way how it is. Anyway, I need to take a short commercial break at this time. And when I come back, we'll continue with today's edition of the morning program, You Talk on 975. The time in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago is just about 12 minutes here to the hour of 9 o'clock. Note that at the top of the hour, you'll be in the company with the Bees Hi-Fi, who will be taking you until the hour of 12 this morning. Just to keep you up to speed as to what is happening in that second test match, the West Indies coming up against England. Note that the West Indies would have won the first test match by 4 wickets. Well, England taking first strike, resuming from their overnight score of 245. Well, at
At this time, they are 273 for the loss of 3 wickets. Let's take this call on the line. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Can I have please a good decision to close the border?
Oh, so you think it's a good decision to close the border? Yeah, well, I agree with you, I agree with you. You see, all those people who are, and I'm editorializing here, it's not about discriminating. Discriminating against whom? Who you're discriminating against? The fact remains you have over, according to the Prime Minister, over 250 nationals wanting to come home. Where are you going to put them? Please pray, tell me, where are we going to put all these people if they come into tranches? Every day you're bringing people from North America, from England, from Canada, and so on. Where are you going to put them? Where? You tell me. Can our health system handle the capacity? We will be overwhelmed. So you need to bring in these people in batches, but at the same time, you will look at those people who have what you call extenuating circumstances and make some sort of provision for them. That's all I'm saying here this morning, Bring in the nationals, You have cricketers here. But listen, the Prime Minister would have explained to you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, why he would have endorsed the CPL for 2020 being hosted in Trinidad. And more so, why these players and by extension support staff will be housed at the Hilton Hotel. He would have explained to you, but you see, some people in this country do not want to be rational. They tend to look at it from a political point of view. That is what they tend to do. We have to look at what is in the best interest of most of the people, if not all of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Anyway, folks, I think I would have said enough for this morning. I'm inviting you to join me again on Monday, where we'll continue with our discussion again with you. Note that, yes, I'll be here on Sunday to engage you from 10 until 1. I will engage you, so you can look forward to that program on Sunday morning from 10 o'clock in the morning until 1 o'clock. I am Kenrick Juggernaut, wishing each and every one of you a safe and productive day. Have a blessed weekend, folks. Note that the Met Office would have said that the Saharan dust is in the atmosphere, and we need to take all of the necessary precaution. Note that the Met Office would have also said that we can expect some, let's say, uncomfortable weather, so to speak, of course. But we need to exercise caution. My good friend Larry this morning told us about some sort of accident. Well, we'll try to get some more details for you and share that with you, our dear listening audience. I am Kenrick Juggernaut, wishing you a safe and a productive day. Take care of yourself, people. I am out of here. Up next, the Bees Hi-Fi.
The following is a paid political announcement.
This ad brought to you by the PNM.
All will be fine. Look, we made the right choice every time. Still a job to be done and a race to be won, and we know we will win every time. Just keep the faith, heads up high. We're together in this, you and I.